All right. Hello, gorgeous goddesses. Zena here, and today I am sitting with Natalia, who I hope most of you know.
Cheers.
This is like having our own little talk show here. Zena and Natalia talk about stuff and
Oh
spill it
man.
all over myself. All right, so I'm spilling all over. Um, all right, so Natalia is here to share to go get a paper towel because I have it on your floor now. And she's going to share with us today. So, as many of you know, Natalia is my best friend. She is also a personal training client. She's also my workout partner, and she is one of the first people to go on my prototype, like right when I started boot camp programs. So she has been through it with me since the beginning, and so it's been really a great experience, and it's been a really unique experience doing this with someone who is your best friend. Because sometimes that can work well, and sometimes it can be a disaster. But it has worked well for us. Yes, that's what I paid her to say.
Yeah. she's threatening me.
I threatened her with more squats.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought it would be great to have Natalia on, since she has been with me from the beginning, to share with you all her experiences through the boot camps and through personal training and through recent experience that she's been having. So my first question to you is, why did you decide to do the program? Not just because your best friend asked you to support her, but why did you decide to do it?
The honest answer is I was getting fat. So, and that is a relative term. So let me define what that means for me personally. I'm sure, as many women discover as we go through life, it's harder and harder to maintain our weight. And so for me, I was buying the biggest pants I had ever bought, even though relatively there might be a small size for some people. For me, it was, twice the size that I used to be. And I just was like, I can't go any bigger. I can see the trend happening, and I refuse to go any bigger.
Right. And you have been trying some things.
And I had been trying to lose weight, but one of the things that happens is, as I hit my mid and late 30s and cresting on my 40s, the same things that worked in my 20s didn't work any longer. So I couldn't, for me personally, I couldn't just cut out bread, or like couldn't just cut out a food group, or couldn't just go to the gym more, like nothing. I was trying and I was failing, and so then I was like, okay, I need some guidance here. I need to do something, because it's not working.
Right. So Natalia joined in on one of my very first prototype of a group boot camp program. And what was the experience that you had? Like, what were the results that you got from that experience?
Well, so the results were I lost 10 pounds and finally fit back into like my size that I wanted, jeans, right? So tangibly, I got back to the weight that I was previously.
Mm-hmm. Back to the size.
Back to the size and back to the weight. So that was all good. I'd say the biggest eye opener with the program, probably three things. Number one, not all calories are created equally. So a calorie from fat is not the same as a calorie from protein, right? And so when sometimes I did calorie restricted dieting,
mm-hmm.
right? So I would count my calories. Okay, if I eat 1,200 calorie diet, or if I eat, that a restricted diet, it's okay if I eat cheese and chocolate.
Right. So like there's an importance to like the types. Like you can't just eat all carbs. Or...
Yeah, totally.
Right.
If I just eat cheese and chocolate and just not just protein shakes.
Right.
Like that's unhealthy. Shocker, I know.
So the quality of food.
Quality of food matters. The ratio in which you eat them. I'm someone who indexes more on fats. Like I could just eat that all day. Some people index more on carbs.
Right.
I don't think anybody indexes more on protein.
The protein is usually the number one thing. I don't ever have to pull anybody down from their protein.
I think people have to eat less carbs or eat less fat. So that's really difficult, and that's an eye-opener when you start tracking everything you eat. You're like, oh my God, 75% of my calories come from fat.
Right.
And I'm trying to lose fat.
And fat, it has twice as many calories per gram than a carb. So when a lot of your diet comes from fat, it's a very calorically dense diet.
Yes, and so you don't get a lot of volume.
Right.
Other things I learned, one of the other big takeaways is consistency. Gina has this core 3, exercise program that you do. And then, so doing that every single day really kind of benchmarks your day. So it doesn't, it gives you something to do that's a consistent thing. And then it's shocking how one habit can be the foundation of all the other habits.
Right.
So.
And that is sort of the how what my goal was with having the daily 3 exercises. They used to be called the core 3 when she started, but people were getting that mixed up with just core exercises. So I went to calling it the daily 3. And it is something that helps create a habit and a momentum. So eventually you don't have to do those daily 3 all of the time, but they're sort of an anchor into your training program.
Yeah.
And a place for people to start to get back into a habit.
And then I'd say the third thing that was really impactful was just how we track, because we track weight, and then we also track our measurements, but then we also take photos. And I think seeing the difference in the photos is like super.
Yeah, and I just made a post about that. And one of the things that Nataliya would do is call me up and be like, I didn't lose any weight this week. And she would be really kind of upset. And I said, well, did you do your measurements? And then she would say, because I could see her and I could see there was a difference. So I said, did you do your measurements?
Mm-hmm.
And she would say, well, no, I hadn't done my measurements. I said, right now, stop, do your measurements.
Right.
And then Nataliya would find out like her waist had gone down 1 inch and her thighs had gone down a 1/2 inch. I'm like, are we okay now with the fact that the scale didn't move? Or you would have a night where you kind of like went maybe to a party or something.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, I gained 3 pounds over the weekend. Well, you could not have gained 3 pounds of fat over a weekend. You'd have to have eaten over 9,000 calories in order to have done that. 9,000 calories over what your calories already are.
Right.
I'm sure it's because you indulged a little bit more in carbohydrates, so your body's holding a little bit more water. Why don't you wait 3 days and weigh yourself again? And then sure enough, she'd be like, oh yeah, it came back down because the water weight came off. So great. So those were sort of like your biggest takeaways?
In terms of just like fun things I learned in the program, or like life-changing like ahas.
Yeah, the big ahas.
Yeah.
So after you did like
I did 2 iterations.
2 iterations of the boot camp, and then you went into more personal training with me. Yeah, and so how has that experience been, like working as a group and also then working one-on-one privately with me? How's that experience been for you?
Definitely in the group you learn kind of the basics,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously personal training is you get taken deeper into a more personalized program,
Mm-hmm.
just for you, and then or just for the person, right? And so that it just takes you deeper into your journey and starts to fine tune the things that we're working on. Like we're weight training now,
Right.
so I'm not doing the core. I'm not doing the daily 3 every day, right? But I'm doing weight training 4 days a week, and I'm building strength at this point.
Yeah, and the exercise programs are specifically for the things that you're working
on. And then the diet is a little bit
it's
very similar.
Well, it's the same. That's the one thing in the group programming that we do that's the same right now is that I do set everyone's macros.
Yeah.
The exercise training programs, there's what you're given in the group are there will be a variety of different programs from which you can choose. And then when I work with someone one-on-one, we get a little bit deeper into like what are your specific goals, and so it might look a little bit more tailored as far as that exercise piece goes.
Yeah.
And then there in the group, the way that it works is that you get support from the group and you do your accountability to the group. Whereas with personal training, it's accountability directly with me through Voxer. Right. So the support comes through there. And so what was the most difficult part of the group program for you?
Probably just sticking with it. Because it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, the program is simple, but it's not easy.
Simple. Yeah, but just because it's simple to do and the steps are really simple, it's really so I guess the difficult piece of the group, I think the group program is really great because I would post on there, I failed today, I didn't, like I failed, I'm a failure, and then another lady would chime in and be like, me too, we're failures together. But then Zena would chime in and would say, today was a day that you didn't do everything you could have, but tomorrow's a new day. So that, I think that's a really helpful framework, is that you're not a failure, and it's not for me, if I fail once, it's an excuse to fail tomorrow as well. But like this mindset of like, that was just limited to today and tomorrow we'll do better.
Right. Every day exists of its own, and we don't try to make up for things. So if we overate today, we don't try to undereat tomorrow.
Yes.
If we didn't do our workout today, we don't try to double it up tomorrow. Because you just get into a really not a healthy mindset that way. So every day has its own targets, and either and every day you just evaluate how close to the target did I get, or how far away was I? What do I need to learn from what didn't happen today? Maybe my planning wasn't on point or something. And then the next day you just try to get your dart just aimed a little bit closer at the target. So the days don't roll into each other. You got to treat each day as its own set of targets,
and that's helpful. It's a very forgiving mindset that I, previous to you telling me that, don't adopt.
You didn't have.
I didn't have, right? Then I would try to compensate, and then you snowball, and so that keeps the accountability in the group program, keeps you from snowballing, but also provides camaraderie in terms of what's a good word? Like the kindness towards failure.
Right.
Because we're not always going to get it perfect, but it allows us to get back up on our feet real quick and just kind of like, okay, well, here we go. Right. And then we can have results versus hiding under the.
I always say, if you're not checking in, you're hiding.
Yeah.
You're hiding for a reason. And so this kind of group situation doesn't allow for a lot of that, because the group is waiting for you to also be participating and checking in and supporting one another. And so having that group support there, because transformation is hard. Changing habits are hard. Changing thoughts. It's not always easy to do those things. Because our old habits are so ingrained. And so when we're switching direction and trying something new, having that accountability, having that support, having someone that helps us understand why we're doing what we're doing is really helpful. So so do you feel like, as far as like your investment, as far as time, money, do you feel like you got a return on that investment that you made?
Yes, and the reason I say that is because I know. Well, I'm not new to investing personally in myself. However, it's always a sticker shock. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to spend this money on myself. But the joy I feel of just like fitting into my clothes and feeling confident, because I think for women, the better we feel in our own bodies and in our own skin, and just kind of the better we feel about ourselves, the more confident we are, the more we're magnetic, and the more energy we have for everything that we do. So for me personally, I'm not just paying you to teach me about macros that I could just Google on the internet, right?
Right.
Like, that's not the goal. The goal is that I'm paying for a transformation experience that I recognize if I could do on my own, I would have done it.
Right.
I would have already done it. I would have been like, I would have already known how to lose my 10 or 15 pounds.
And I think there is this thought that we're all supposed to know how to do it on our own. And it's just simply not the case. I don't think, like, I try to get professionals in my life for things that I don't know everything about. And there's so much misinformation out there. So I don't try to diagnose my own ear infection, or try to diagnose my own sinus infection, or try to take care of that on my own. I go see a professional for that. Right. And I think that to like point me in the right direction so that I can just get over it as quick as possible. And maybe I don't have enough information to self-assess. And so I think that's what I find, is that people think they're supposed to have some sort of information that they don't have, or someone will tell me, I know what I need to do, I just can't do it. Well, there's two things going on here. One is that you maybe don't know, because when I ask people, well, what is it that you think you need to do? There's some really outdated diet culture belief systems out there still running the program, and that's not necessarily true. And so you could be doing what you think you're supposed to be doing, and then not having success because of that. The second thing is, why do we all think we have to do it alone? It is hard to have a transformational experience alone. Having the support of other people, and having someone there to hold space for us, and having someone there when we're feeling really frustrated, and feeling, because there are going to be frustrating parts in the journey. There are going to be places that feel really easy, and then there's going to be places where the process isn't linear, and we need each other to hold space for each other when we're having those moments of feeling frustrated or wanting to move backwards. So I think the idea that we need to do it on our own, we need to really sort of get that out of our heads and make it okay to have support. Right. So my other question for you is, we're going to talk about something. what was it? Oh, first off, the first question before we get to this. Do you consider the program a sustainable program? Something that you can sustain
Yes.
for life? Okay.
Yes.
That being said, Nataliya is going to share with us her story about how she did not sustain her results.
Sustain it.
But we'll talk about why. So firstly, she did a lot of work with me getting ready for her wedding.
Yes.
She was a very beautiful bride. And very confident in her body. Like, I just got so much joy out of seeing her being so radiant and enjoying the summer. And then she got married, and then she went into wedded bliss. So we want.
I did. I got down to my, so I ordered like the wedding dress like an inch smaller waist than I was in January, and the woman at the register was like, we like don't offer refunds, so.
Right.
She gave me this look. I was like, oh no, I'll be this. And
I was there with her. I was like, don't worry, she's gonna get into that dress.
I got into the dress. There was even room. Anyway, like it looked great. So then after the wedding, I was like, woo! And then
She just thought she could just take all the time off.
Well, I just was, because it takes a lot of effort to weigh my food, to count my macros, to just have a lot of focus on this, to meal plan. And so I was like, well, I've been doing this for a while. I can just, I know what 6 ounces of chicken looks like, and I know what, I just know, and I can just eyeball it. Like, we're fine. And then, of course, it's summer, and so I'm downing the White Claws, and I'm having the spritzers, and I'm drinking the beers, and because I'm by the pool, and I'm having a mimosa, and it's fun, and my husband loves a drink, and, it was just, we were just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And a little known secret is alcohol would just ruin your diet. Like, ruin.
We're going to talk a little bit more about alcohol coming up, because there are just some things people are not saying about alcohol and sustained success.
Yes. So, and then the other thing that will ruin a diet real quick is going out to dinner.
Well, yes, and explain why.
So we went out to dinner recently here. So I've been back on the wagon since September. So I did it until July, the second half of July, August and mid-September. It was like 2 months, and then I just went crazy, and then I gained the weight back. I was like, oh my god. But I didn't eat, to me, I didn't feel like I ate that much more. I was like, honestly,
it was sneaky.
shocked.
It snuck up on.
I was like, how is 5 glasses of wine and some White Claws and like a dinner a couple nights a week equating to like
all this weight gain?
Like, it was nuts to me. So then, anyway, we had gone out to dinner recently after this I'm back on the wagon, personal training since September. So we just go out to dinner. I log my dinner. And I'm really good now at estimating what everything is. That dinner we had the other day, 2,000 calories. 2,122 calories.
In one dinner. The portions weren't huge.
They weren't huge.
It was just that they were so calorically dense. And so Nataliya had sort of gone to an intuitive eating style, but there was not an accounting for a lot of the hidden calories.
The hidden calories. Oh my god.
And so it isn't that you have to track for the rest of your life, but you have to really understand that we get to be very poor evaluators of what we're doing. So knowing how to track, and then when we see the scale start to go back up, and then she knew how to track, and she's like, okay, I need to rein it in. And she started to log what she was doing. She realized she was like way off on what she thought she was eating.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So, and that can add up very quickly over time, and why it seems like, and it's just sort of sneaky.
It does.
And then all of a sudden you were like, I can't zip my pants up.
I refuse. That's my limit. If my pants don't fit,
it's time.
I'm not buying new pants.
So she started personal training again, and then we went back to macro tracking and went back to doing the weight training, because she wasn't weight training with me either.
Right.
And then what have been the results so far in that time?
So I haven't weighed I weighed in, I lost 5 pounds, and then my pants fit again. So that was really exciting. I put my pants back on.
So I got a message from her. She's like, I can get my pants back on. Yes.
But now we're going for a new kind of level. So now we're working on looking super toned in bikini, because
summertime's coming.
Summertime is coming. I know it's December.
Right, but that's when summer bodies are made.
is in the
because you
summer.
need time. You need time.
Right.
So a lot of people start to get the itch to get their bikini bod going when the weather's already starting to turn.
Mhm.
And then sometimes that's just not enough time, and so people do really extreme things that are not sustainable and aren't going to actually help them in the long run. Because she has the experience that she's had, she's been able to rein this in really quick,
Right.
really quick to rein that in and understand and have the skill base. Like, you already have the skill base to track, right? And you're like, okay, I know how to do this. I need to bring it back, and I'm clearly eating more calories than I'm burning.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
need to figure out where that discrepancy is.
Right.
She
That's
had the
hard.
skill base, because one of the things I try to do in the program is educate you on how to do this so that you can do it on. She didn't have to call me and depend on me to get her back in rein her back in. She did. I mean, she's training with me for that accountability, and she's training with me for that strength training piece. But on her own, she could go into that app, because she already knows how to do all that, and figure out, oh my God, I am eating hundreds of calories over my maintenance calories.
Like
This
1,000.
is not a mystery as to why my jeans aren't fitting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at most, if you'd ask me, like, how much was that dinner, how many calories, I'd be like, oh, like 1,000.
Right.
Not 2,000. So now it makes a lot more sense why.
Now, keep in mind
Yeah.
that she didn't have this reversal because she was so restricted through the program. Like, we didn't
Right.
have her on really super limited calories, so then she wanted to overeat. It is something that crept up over time because
Right.
she had stopped paying attention.
Right.
And the point is that you kind of got to pay attention. Even if you go into intuitive eating, if you see the scale starting to creep up, you still have the
Okay.
skills then to do the math and see where you're going wrong, because we often really underestimate how much we're consuming, and we overestimate how much we are burning.
Yes.
So so
that's
she
the
had the
issue.
skills to bring that in on her own. Like, she could have done that. I mean, she did that piece on her own, and then was like, okay, let's reset the macros. She wanted the accountability piece, she wanted the training piece, and now we go and
Yeah.
we get all that done.
Yeah, and now I'm much less focused on the number on the scale and more focused on, the photos that we're taking and just making sure, I get more lean and
Yeah,
more
right.
muscular and
Right.
looking great.
Right.
So.
And Nataliya is going to be a part of the next Fit Goddess boot camp.
Woo!
And so she will be there, and as new people join on, you'll have a veteran here with you to help you go through.
3-time veteran. But the part that I'm looking forward to is just having new ladies in the group, and the accountability and just like the camaraderie is really great.
Yeah.
So.
And I suggest now is the time, because I'm still running the 30% discount, which I believe I'm going to run to Christmas, because that'll be my Christmas gift to you. And then after Christmas, it's going to change. The price will go up. And if you do decide to enroll right now, I will gift you a free one-on-one coaching call you can choose a time during that 3-month training period for you to have a one-on-one personalized coaching call with me, so we can go over specific things that maybe we aren't able to get to. We are able to get to a lot in the group because the group is small, but if there are some things that we're not able to get to, then you and I can have a personal one-on-one call with each other. I'm also going to extend to the people who did the 50% off, who are not getting the deal, which was part of the deal, was to have that one-on-one call. If you guys want that one-on-one call, get someone to join the Fit Goddess Boot Camp, because then they'll get the discount and the one-on-one call, and you will also get the one-on-one call for free. So hopefully we get like a really great group of women together. It's really fun, and it is really so inspiring to have other people and understand that there are people that are going through the same things as you, and there are people that are going to celebrate you, and there's people that are going to just hold your hand when you're having a hard time. So we hope that you join us, and
Definitely.
comment below if you want more information. Ask questions. I'm happy to answer them. Nataliya, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And you might have heard
Thank you for my
her-
booty.
Of course. My special gift to you. And your husband.
Yes, she appreciates it.
And you may have heard her calling me Gina, so some of you don't know. I'm the girl with 2 names. So I am Zena on here publicly in my business training. So if you've heard her refer to me as Gina, that's because she is in the inner circle of people who get to call me by my birth name. All right. So thank you so much, Nataliya, and I look forward to having you in the group, and I look forward to kicking her ass on Monday in the gym.
No.
I love her so much. All right. Goodbye, ladies. Bye, goddesses.